What is up, everybody? It is your boy Flash, aka Malachi36. I am here with It's the Nine Ball, Mildewy Carrot, and Gravity Mark Dose. The return of the Gravity. Hey. What is going on, man? How are you?
So does that mean he's Gravity Mark twice
well,
now?
Sir. I'm back up and running. I've got my cord that I needed to actually be back on these streams, so it's lovely to be back. I apologize here. I'm multitasking here, as you know. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearls coming out soon, and I thought that I would just take the opportunity to just make sure I finish my run of the OG Pokemon Diamond before I actually pick up the new releases.
That stunning Pearl.
Oh yeah, well I honestly I don't even know which one I'm gonna get yet.
Okay.
I don't know either.
It's gonna be one of the two.
I might get Diamond. I'm not sure because I'm interested in that too. Because Pokemon was my childhood.
No complaints there, man. Speaking of childhood, Mildewy Carrot, how are you doing, man?
Wow.
I'm alive.
Childhood.
Speaking of childhood, Mildewy Carrot, I'm like, I don't know how to follow up on this one.
He's like,
I really
what?
don't.
How?
I'm here. I'm alive, I think. Hold on. Yeah, no, heart's still beating, so...
And
I can come check, neighbor.
Yeah, exactly. Neighbor's right there. But
I need a hug.
You know it's a great time to be alive if you got yourself a Raise energy drink, where you guys can get your Raise energy drinks from Rep Sports, reppsports.com. Type in the ALWT Gaming at checkout. But I don't have to tell you that because you already know to save 50% off if you do that. So you get your watermelon frost, your guava mangoes, your sour gummy worms, but sour gummy worms. It's the Nine Ball. What's up, man?
Not too much. Catching up on basically catching up, like I said, on my mass library of games and some animes and stuff. I need to get back in and start watching.
Facts. Yeah. I've been on an anime spree lately. We all had the opportunity, excluding It's the Nine Ball. We had the opportunity to go ahead and watch the My Hero Academia movie recently. So I know we had thoughts about that. Maybe one of these days we'll just do like this, maybe even this month, we'll do a all-day anime special with the three of us talking about it. Now you guys a little bit more.
We used to do. Yep, we used to do anime Sundays, but you know.
Yeah, that was all-day anime. So we might go ahead and do a little special with just the
all
three of us
on Sunday.
All day on Sunday.
Put it on hold for recent updates and COVID.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 72. If you are on Anchor, geez. I know, right? Yeah, years going by crazy. We have a lot of content that we're putting out there. If you guys are on Anchor, I believe it is 58. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me. I'm checking right now.
That was like the 70. Whatever we are currently, minus 14, 4 or something.
I think it's 14.
Minus 14, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, we are on episode 58, baby. 58 on Anchor, Spotify, everything like that. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. For anyone that's been tuning in and been hanging out with us, whether you're watching live or whether you are listening on podcast services later. Let me ask you guys real fast, before we're getting on over to the first little event of the day, because we already know that we have our delayed predictions for 2022. We already know that It's the Nine Ball has selected Gran Turismo 7, that he does not think that that's going to come out when it's going to come out and that's going to get delayed. We already know Mildewy Carrot, as much as he loves the thought of Elden Ring launching early 2022, he doesn't believe it's going to be launching in early 2022. We already know Malachi36, just being an Xbox hater, thinking that Starfield's just going to get pushed back to 2023, maybe even 2024. But what we don't know is Gravity Mark 2. What game of 2022 do you think is going to get delayed?
Oh my goodness. You know what? I was going through just double checking all of the games that are coming out next year because there's quite a lot of heavy hitters coming out. Mm-hmm. And as I was going through some of these, I was already bouncing ideas off of you guys because I was like, hey, wasn't this delayed too? Wasn't this delayed? There's a lot of these that I'm just like, wasn't this already delayed? I'm like, God of War. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that was already delayed. Forbidden West, yeah, I'm pretty sure that was delayed. Dying Light 2, pretty sure that was also delayed. So like so I'm just like, a lot of the games that have already been delayed, I'd find it hard for them to delay it again. Because at the very least, in my mind as a consumer, like if I hear like a second delay, I start to get some cyberpunk thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I don't know. But I had my eye on something here, where this one, you know what? I'm not 100% sure. I'm going with my gut. Something with my gut here. It's telling me that, what was it? Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl. I have a feeling that one might be getting delayed.
Stalker 2. Okay.
Interesting.
Something about it here.
That game is
That's
massive.
really giving me some vibes that it's probably going to be delayed. Maybe because it's for Xbox. Maybe I'm subconsciously hating on Xbox here. But you know, I'm having a feeling that might be the one to get delayed.
Don't encourage Malachi at Gravity.
What are you talking about? I ain't being a hater. What up, Hilo? My 3rd grade teacher told me that I was delayed. Took 3 years to get released. Well, I'm glad that we had that experience with you, Hilo, up in here.
And thanks for the subscription, man. We appreciate it too.
Yes, for sure. Let me do this real fast. Something looks a little off here.
Thanks for joining us, even though you're 3 years late. You know, appreciate to have you now.
Better late than never.
Amen.
They tell me.
All right. For some reason, I'm gonna have to fix this a little bit later. Nine Ball, real quick, Nine Ball. Tell them what you got for breakfast this morning.
What?
Yep. just make that content while distract the audience, distract the kids. You know what I mean?
Oh, today, people, I had some eggs and some an energy drink this morning. It got me up and going.
Was it a Raise energy drink?
Hope it was.
You see, you already got Hilo intrigued. He says, "What kind of eggs?"
Just scrambled eggs.
Did it have
good old-fashioned scrambled eggs?
Did it have pepper? Did it have onions? Like what's going on?
No, I got them at work.
Give me time, Nine Ball. Just go on a filibuster.
We got time here for this. Gravity. Nine Ball and I recently just picked up Phasmophobia and played through it, and it is exciting and terrifying at the same time. So I know Malachi will never get on board this game at all unless we tie him down to his chair and make him force play him. But Nine Ball and I, we had a lot of fun with it. It was really good. Like there's times where we just like we're in there, and we're like, okay, there's something, and then just out of nowhere it just pops up on us. And we're like, shit.
It is absolutely a game that like I've had my eye on for a while. And it's definitely like one of those games that like I didn't really get it initially just because like I want to play with my friends. And like I don't want to force anybody to get the game if they don't want to. But now that I know that you guys have it, then I'm definitely going to be adding it to my Steam library very soon. And I think we really should be getting Malachi in on this. And I think we all need to stay in the truck. We need to send Malachi in the house by himself.
Hold on. So first and foremost, two things about this. One, it looks like I got it fixed. I guess I was just neglecting Streamlabs for too long because now I see you inside the chat. Hilo, feel free to say something else just to confirm that it's actually working. But I see you inside the chat now. Were they chicken, eggs, or something else? So yeah. So if you want to talk,
I hope they were chicken.
Bottom at work, you never know.
Yeah.
And
then two,
these are from the endangered ostriches of Navanya.
And then two, you had me as if you guys have enough peer pressure on me, I will join you guys for Phasmophobia. I will. But if I'm going to the house by myself, you have another thing coming. You know what I mean? That's not happening on my watch.
The only problem is, Malachi, is some of these ghosts don't like groups. So you gotta go solo.
See, no, that what I heard was, Malachi, you go inside this KKK house because we have a racist ghost on the loose, and we want to see if you guys can square up. That's what I heard.
No. You're very charismatic. You do a good job at communicating and drawing the ghost out.
Story number one, ladies and gentlemen.
Especially if it's a demon. You go walking there talking about. There is one ghost, though. I will say this, which would be funny. There is one ghost I read that if you get aggressive with it, it will back off from hunting. And I can just see Malachi in there screaming about exercising the good Lord, and there's no hunts in this house. And it's just him the whole time ranting about it.
I'm a juke that ghost. Break his non-existent ankles.
Just hope it's not the twins. Then you ain't juking nothing.
Before we do that, I definitely want to give a shout out on here again. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. Hilo, thank you very much for saying something as well inside the chat, because that confirmed again that I fixed it, and I think I was just neglecting Streamlabs. I think that's all it was. It just missed me a little too much. I do want to kind of go over the Fantasy Gaming League, because as we're creeping down at the end of the year, it looks like Mildewy Carrot might be the early crowned victor. I know he doesn't want to say that he has the throne, not yet. He wants to make sure that 2021 is over, and that it literally says in lights streaming across the sky, Mildewy Carrot Patch Incorporated, radishes for sale, all of that. All right.
I'm not Trump. I want to make sure every vote's counted.
every vote counts. With that, anyone that is curious about the Fantasy Gaming League, it works just like fantasy football, but it's on an annual basis instead of weekly. And instead of you being against one person per week, you're against everybody at the same time. It's on a 100-point scale. Anything above 70 points gains you points. Anything that scores below 70 points, and this is Metacritic or whatever, loses you points. And anything that's right at 70 points does not gain or lose. If we also have a thing in here called counter picks, to where if you choose a game that's on somebody else's list and you don't think it's going to do well, if it does terribly, they not only do they lose the points, but you gain the points. Make America Carrot great again. That's clever. And then also
no
they cannot
carrot like a Americarrot.
and they cannot, if you counter pick that game, they cannot drop it. If it does well, however, not only will they gain the points, but if you select that as your counter pick, you will lose those points. So there you go. So here we have it. Me sitting in 5th place right now, representing ALWT Gaming. I have Deathloop, got me 18 points. Halo Infinite, pending to come out. Final Fantasy 16, pending to come out 2022. Far Cry 6, got me 7 points. Solar Ash, pending. Call of Duty Vanguard, which was one that we were talking about off stream, which was surprising, got me only 7 points. As of right now, it looks like it might even be less than that, possibly. I was
going to say, I'm kind of surprised it got you 7.
Yeah. Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, the Hinokami Chronicles got me 1 point. Uno. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy got me 12 points, and I have a counter pick of God of War Ragnarok on Ohio's list, which is confirmed not coming out this year. I'm ending right now with 44 points with 3 open spots. Really 2 open spots, but possibly 1 open spot, which is Halo Infinite, just because everything else not looking too good for your boy. Nope. Zaka TV, represented by It's the 9 Ball. He has Resident Evil Village, got him 14 points. Fraternal got him 16 points. The Medium got him 5 points. Oddworld Soulstorm, somehow, that last remaining point, taken away from him. Out of cruel.
Broke even still. I still broke even.
Yeah,
so.
you broke even. I don't know what happened there. I don't know what happened. That was the refund me, the Indian giver.
It was the odd game out.
Yep. Guilty Gear Strive got him 16 points. Mario, I saw what you did there. Mario Super Rush got him 1 point. Life is Strange True Colors, 12 points. Forza Horizon freaking 5, Cinco got him 24 points, the most points that we've seen in this league right now. He right now is sitting at 88 points. Oh, you still have a chance to possibly win this. You still have you.
How?
It's unlikely. It's unlikely, but it's a possibility.
He would have to go negative.
Yeah. No. Because depending on how well Five Nights at Freddy does, Carrot Patch can possibly lose points. It's it's unlikely, but you're still more than running than I am. Going on over to Carrot Patch Inc., who is right now our uncrowned victor, has Monster Hunter Rise, 18 points. Kenna, Bridge of Spirits, 11 points. Shin Megami Tensei 5, pending at 86 points, but reviews are still coming in for that one. 86 points. 86 on the score, 16 points overall. Psychonauts 2, 19 points. 12 Minutes, 5 points. It Takes Two, 19 points. Diablo 2 Resurrected, 10 points. Age of Empires 4, 14 points. He has a counter pick of Five Nights at Freddy's. Rewinding back to Zaka TV, I didn't say your counter pick, was Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, which is not coming out, and that was your boy Silent. On up here to Fantasy Football, spelled with a PH, is our boy Silent. He has Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, not coming out this year. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I almost just said Ratchet. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, 18 points. New Pokemon Snap, 10 points. Axiom Verge 2, 8 points. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, pending. Battlefield 2042, pending. Scarlet Nexus, 10 points. Metroid Dread, 17 points. Back for Blood hurt him by 7 points, so he's at a 56 overall right now. And Mildewy Carrot's at 95 points, by the way. Illis Be Live, right now, he's still probably the closest contender that we have to Mildewy Carrot. But right now, we're all bowing at his whim. Bravely Default 2, 8 points. Near Replicant version 1 point and a lot of numbers, 13 points. Little Nightmares 2, 13 points. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach pending. The Dark Pictures Anthology House of Ashes, 3 points. Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin, 11 points. Tales of Arise, 17 points. I got to pick that up still. Neo, The World Ends With You, 12 points. Final Fantasy 16, and it hurts. It hurts when that happens because he is a fellow Final Fantasyist, and he decided to go against his brethren. Talk about a knife in the back, you know what I mean? 17 points. That serves you right. Yeah,
he was part of the realist group.
You knew that was going to be a counter.
Ohio has God of War Ragnarok not coming out. Back for Blood got him 7 points. Humankind 10 points. Evil Genius 2 World Domination 7 points. Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance negative 11 points. The most points lost in this league, and it happens to be on Ohio's list. Bob Mutant 2, negative 3 points. But that one, we're not going to give you the full negative 3. That one, a little bit recommended by Gravity, who's not in the league right now.
I mean, it was fun at first, and it got kind of old kind of fast. Then they came out with an update, and then I was like, nah, I'm good. Yeah, it's like, but we want to come back?
He has 2 open spots, but I think he threw in the towel, just like Rocky Balboa. He has 10 points. But those are going to be taken away from him because he's Halo Infinite. Yeah, Halo Infinite is
he's got 10 right now.
Yeah, don't take it away from him, guys. Let him have some. Let him have this moment. Let him have this moment.
It'd be funny is if you only get 10 points for Halo Infinite, he goes just a straight 0.
That would suck. That would suck.
At least he's not negative.
Yeah.
It's gonna be more than 10. How much time Microsoft's spending on their games at launch? Because they know they have to come out swinging. Halo Infinite's probably going to be somewhere in the 90s as well.
I have a feeling that will happen, but we'll see. We shall see.
I don't know. Like Vanguard didn't do too well, and I'm kind of wondering how 20.
Yeah, because it's Call of Duty.
Yeah, the reviews for Halo that's been coming out in beta and everything have been a lot better than.
Now here's the question: was that multiplayer or was that campaign?
Just multiplayer. Which is what people get.
To be honest, what they get. Which is 2042, which is why I feel like those ones are going to get some good points, just because of the multiplayer fan base that's out there. You know.
Yeah, you have that die-hard dedicated fan service already. So
it's cult fan base. Don't say die-hard. It's cult right now. It's. You Halo or Call of Duty?
Not a cult.
I do want to throw out there that just as a reminder for anyone that is going to be watching whenever we are streaming in December, that first Tuesday, I believe. Let me think. Yep, that first Tuesday, which is going to be our ALWT Things Gaming episode, we are going to be doing our predictions for what we were planning on seeing at the VGAs. So, and that's going to be on the 9th, December 9th for the VGAs. So that the Tuesday beforehand, which is going to be the 7th, we're going to sit down. We're going to talk about games that we plan on seeing. We're going to have some Gatorade get hype moments. Are we going to be seeing Hellblade 2? Are we going to be seeing the rumored the rumored open world Power Rangers game? What are we going to see here? You know what I mean? So a lot of stuff that to be discussing. That's going to be this coming December 7th. And we do have a few holiday updates as far as us like not streaming on certain days and everything like that. Maybe some holiday streams. But enough about
On
that.
the first day of Christmas, Cameron ran out screaming.
What?
Couldn't play Phasmophobia.
So we actually today we have 6 topics to discuss. Some of them quick, some of them a little bit on the lengthier side. But I want to kind of pick your guys' brains about this. The first story that we have is one that's near and dear to my heart. And that is Endwalker slightly delayed. So Ethan Gotch from Kotaku says originally planned to come out later this month. Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker, the Square Enix MMORPG's biggest expansion to date, will instead arrive a few weeks later on December 7th, which is the same day that we will be doing that stream. That's because the director Naiko Yoshida and the rest of the development team want to launch a new content without breaking the game. Yoshida, a 17 veteran of Square Enix, wrote the announcement that this is the first time he's ever postponed anything that has a release date, but that was all necessary to given how ambitious Endwalker is. This is a quote. We remain firmly resolved to adjust down to the smallest nuances and ensure our writing covers even the finest points of the vast and intricate story that it has spanned over the past 11 years since the original Final Fantasy XIV, to ensure that everyone can fully enjoy their adventures in Endwalker, he wrote. Quote, unfortunately, the consequences of this was that we ended up in a situation where we cut into the time required for final quality assurance checks due to time spent on additional improvements, end quote, end story. I'm 1,000% okay with them delaying the game if it means that's going to give them the best chance possible to be successful. I am 1,000% for that. The last thing we want, and I know that this is something that was actually mentioned earlier on the stream, or was it maybe the stream, possibly not. If not, it was pre-stream, but it was just, again, we don't want to have a Cyberpunk 2077 fiasco ever again. They delayed it so many times. At the beginning of 2020, they straight up lied to us and was just like, the games run surprisingly well on PS4 and Xbox and all this stuff. It ran like doo-doo. It ran like Garbo. And it was just a terrible launch. It was just a terrible launch. And I think at first it was shown that it was like, 20 gigs? And then after it did the real gig update and all the patches, it was like over 100 gigs. Like there was something that was majorly missed. Yeah. So
like 70, I think. Oh, look.
Oh, it was a lot of gigs. It was a lot of gigs. I think it was over 100.
I still got it installed on mine. If I can look.
Here's the rest of the game.
Exactly.
Here's the game.
Transparency definitely should have been a key factor on that. But I do want to Hilo, one of our Cyberpunk winners on here, said Cyberpunk was such a disappointment. Hate that I paid for the game myself. Wait. He didn't pay for it because he's one of the winners that we had. So he ended up getting the game for free.
Local file size is 64.88 gigs.
Okay, so that was that. So, and then is that in addition to what was?
Yeah, that's all updates that I've got on here too.
Gotcha. So going back to the current.
I mean, it's not that bad compared to some other games. Like it's just the fact that they did it so choppy and haphazardly was what really screwed it over.
They didn't give it a fighting chance. They didn't give it a fighting chance.
It wasn't. It was just, to be honest, and I hate to say it, they really should let it cook longer.
Yeah. I would don't even. I'm like, now, granted, I know we're
because originally when they put the original thing on there on 2077, they originally said it wasn't going to be ready till it was ready. Mm-hmm. So they didn't originally put in a date, which was probably the best thing to do, until it was absolutely greenlit. And instead of giving in to your investors, you should have just waited, and you would have ended up with a beast of a game. Instead, you got.
Hilo actually went ahead and said it in all seriousness inside the chat. I really enjoyed it top to bottom. Maybe he got 70 hours out of it, warts and all. So
same here.
Yeah,
I got like a ridiculous amount of time in there.
Yeah, and again, like I think the game obviously has potential. It's highly anticipated.
Yeah, 163 hours.
And on a good launch, it probably would have been game of the year for most people. I think because right now, I think if I'm not mistaken, Cyberpunk came out after the VGAs last year, like either on the same day or right after. So Cyberpunk Game of the Year discussions would actually be for this year. Like this VGA is coming up.
Who knows? It might actually win one.
It could. I don't think it will. I don't think it will.
It'll
Game
win
of
a
the year.
participation trophy.
It's not gonna win one for the best launch, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I
Now,
feel like it's a No Man's Sky issue, is what it really is that they launched the game way too early. That
I can't even think. Oh, okay. Go ahead. Finish. I'm
the
sorry.
reason I'm saying that is because it had bugs to it, to where it put off a lot of people too. Once they fixed the bug, once they started fixing and started doing the updates, kind of like No Man's Sky. Now I'm not saying it's. I apologize if I say it's like No Man's Sky. It just feels like it, because as they fixed it and went along with it, now it's gotten better to where it's playable and you can really enjoy it and get more out of it. But because of that initial launch phase, it really put people off of it.
Yeah.
To where they're not going to try it until maybe later on down the road, kind of like No Man's Sky is, to where it's like at first launch it was really bad, but now you got people on there playing it saying, "Oh, this is really good," because they finally have fixed it. So I feel like it's in that kind of category where really bad launch, they've done the fixes, now they got to say, "Hey guys, we're fixed," and wait for the people to slowly come back to it.
Well, for me, it's a problem with that. Because basically the thing about it is basically with No Man's Sky, I was just recently finish watching it on Gamers. They're talking about the fall and rise of No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky, I believe, initially only had 12 people. It was like a passion project. It was ambitious, but this guy, I believe he had good intentions. It just didn't, ambitions to launch. It didn't translate well over.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Cyberpunk, from what I've been reading and understanding,
No Man's Sky was a Kickstarter, is what Hilo just said inside the
chat.
Yeah,
it was an ambitious little title. No Man's Sky, Cyberpunk had CD Projekt Red. Now, I understand that a lot of people probably don't know this. The original Cyberpunk was lost. Their account got hacked, and it was placed behind ransomware a long time ago during the development, and they refused to pay. So they lost the original Cyberpunk and had to rebuild it. But even with that, they should have just held off instead of, from what I'm understanding, I believe they gave into the investors and stuff, and it ended up like this, and they knew it wasn't ready, and this what caused all that friction at the studio. So, it's like No Man's Sky in the fact that they patched it and fixed it, but No Man's Sky, I feel more was like more of an ambitious thing, to where they kind of overhyped themselves, where compared to they knew on basically it really wasn't in good condition, period, on Cyberpunk. They just figured we'll patch it.
Yeah. And again, that 100%, which I know this is not the topic for Cyberpunk or whatever like that, but I do want to say for the Cyberpunk, the way that it launched, I keep going back to it. It comes down to the suits up top. They're the ones that are just like push the game. No, you knew the state that the game was in. There's only been 2 games that Final Fantasy 14'd, and one of the games is Final Fantasy 14. The other game is No Man's Sky. There's only 2 games that's done that so far. I would like Cyberpunk to have a...
It's doing pretty good, actually. The amount of money they've been bringing in from Cyberpunk is actually pretty good. It's actually getting fairly good reviews on Steam in them now.
And that's great. That's great. But again, that's something we're going to have to wait years to see. But the conversation is going to be one of those, is it going to be good enough for it to be the topic of the conversation again? Is it going to be living in the cycle? That's, again, kind of going back to right now with Endwalker, them pushing back their release date. I'm perfectly fine with that, because I think that ever since Final Fantasy came back to where it is now, I think after that, every update they have done has been pretty good. I'm just about to enter in Stormblood. I was just talking to Nibal over the weekend about this, where I'm just like, how come we don't play this more? Me, that's what I'm saying. How come I don't play it more than I already am? This is a fantastic game, fantastic world, great lore. I'm loving Heaven's Word. I'm at that intro part to where I'm about to go inside Stormblood, and I'm excited for Endwalker. So, on that note, does anyone have any commentary or any things about again just the whole Final Fantasy 14 delay?
I'm glad today. I mean, to be honest, for me, it's pretty good. I like that they are delaying it. It gives me some time. I mean, I'm level, I think, 72,
Yep.
but I still got quite a ways to go. So it gives me time to get this done, get it caught up, and by the time Endwalk will be out, I'll be at in-game content.
That's fantastic. I still have a ways.
Yeah.
I won't be getting. I know I won't get to the end game content until maybe March, April of next year.
Next,
I know I won't. Like I'm going to try, but I think I think there's too much content for me to get through. Because again, remember, I'm just now getting inside Stormblade. Then I got all of Stormblade to go through, and then that intermission, and then I have
Shadowbringer.
Yeah, and then I have Shadowbringer, and then that intermission, which I'm assuming is going to be there, and then Endwalker. So I got a ways to go.
yeah, I want to say mid Shadowbringer for me.
I'm still. I think I'm technically still like at the very, very like tail end of Realm Reborn. Like I'm definitely like past like the mains part of it, but like I think it's like all that extra content that they had after it, like that takes place like after like the main part of a Realm Reborn, and then like right before
Heaven's Word. Yep.
yeah, like I'm like just like on the cusp of like Heaven's Word, but I'm also not going to be getting into Final Fantasy 14 for a little bit. Like I expect to hopefully like be back in it like in 2022, but I also have Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl coming out. I also have Legends Arceus coming out, so my time's going to be a little preoccupied. But once I'm done with those, once I'm done with those, I'll definitely jump back in. Although by that point, I think I'm only at like level, like 54.
That's not bad.
So
That's
it's
all right.
not bad. It's all right, is what it is. But in terms of the most recent update to it, like I'm definitely glad that they're delaying it. I'd much rather them delay it and just say, hey, look, we want to make sure it works, than just be like, here it is. Oops, sorry, it doesn't work. We'll get to it. Like it's like I don't know. It's like being given a toy and then just being like, here, do you want to play with this broken toy now, or do you want me to wait till I fix it? It's like I'd rather wait till you fix it. I'll play with a different toy until then.
Mildew, I know that you don't really play a whole lot of MMORPGs, especially pay to plays and anything like that. But does this news in general, like as far as just outside looking in, what does this do for you? What does this bring on your mindset?
Yeah, I apologize for getting off track there with the cyberpunk stuff. Also on that, Hilo says that blows whoever did that was a real ... cyberpunk. Yeah, I have to agree with you, Hilo. Whoever up top was like, I want money now. It's like, bro, chill. It's the gaming industry. You wait a month or two, it's gonna
You're
get
already
you something.
rich. You're already rich.
Shareholders, man. They want their money now.
One thing I would say, the good thing that came about with the cyberpunk thing is that it probably really helps studios understand not to rush it. Really not to rush things and launch it, which this kind of, like, we've been seeing it a lot of. And I'm glad even with the DLC content that mobile RPG game is looking at going like, yeah, no, we still need more time, which I think is one of the good things we can take from the cyberpunk situation is all these companies are like, shit, we can't do that. We can't do that. So they're now taking more time, and the gaming community has been very positive. Like no, don't do that. Don't do that. Take your time.
Mm-hmm.
You'll still get my money. Just give me good content. So to them, I just say good call. Thank you for letting us know the reason, not just saying, oh, it's delayed. Thank you for saying here's why. And the players will wait. They'll rank up their stuff. They'll do their raids, and then as soon as you drop it, they'll be like, let's go.
Facts.
I mean, Final Fantasy 14 devs have always been like really good too, like especially just talking about the games in general. Because I know I've said this before on previous podcasts, but I think it was like the director at one point. He was answering like questions from fans, and somebody was like, "Well, what am I supposed to do? Like in between like this like the end of this story and like the beginning of the next story you haven't released yet?" And they were like, "Go play something else. Like, go play something different. Like, the last thing that we want you to do is play the game so much that you get burned out and that you don't want to play it anymore. So, like, take a break from it, go outside, play a different game, and then once like this update's like put in here, like come on back and like play the new content. And that's definitely something that I've really never heard of any other like gaming developers like actually say that before. Like, yeah, no, like play a different game, go outside, read a book, do something different. Like it's very rare that you hear gaming developers like actively saying like, hey, like don't play our game, but it's for a good reason, and they've shown a really great track record, especially with how they've really turned that ship around with Final Fantasy 14 with the mess that was at launch. But I think it really does show uh kind of, I will like loop it back in with kind of No Man's Sky, is that like even if you have a really terrible launch, you can still pull off like a really great comeback as long as you're dedicated to constant updates, putting out new content, and just constantly having a place for people to come back to.
Agreed. I do want to talk about story number 2, which is gotta go catch them all, right? Ethan Gotch from Kotaku as well. Game Freak's Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl remasters aren't officially out for another 2 weeks, but some copies of the upcoming Nintendo Switch games have already started appearing out into the wild. Now fans are combining through apparent leaked screenshots and videos of signs of previously unannounced Gen 4 content, including Battle Frontier and Distortion World areas. As first reported by BGC, which is Video Game Chronicles, a user claiming to have the early access, early copy of the game posted about it on PokeLeaks subreddit. While the user quickly deleted the post, more images and footage have started pouring out online in the 24 hours since. Earlier today, for example, YouTube account called PokeMasta uploaded 2 minute video showing off Brilliant Diamond's town map and Pokédex and story. Gravity. I feel like you and Mildew will have the utmost authority discussing this part. I'm gonna throw the ball in your court. What does this do for you?
So,
and I will return.
I am no stranger to Pokemon leaks. Like this is a very common thing. Like every time there's a new main series title that's about to release, there's always leaks, and there's just as many fake leaks as there are like real leaks. And it's definitely like important to like keep your eye on those, because there have been like plenty of like fake leaks that people are like, oh, look at this, that's new content, and then people like expect it, and then when it doesn't come out, like people get disappointed. And the other thing is that like it's, again, like I said, it's not very uncommon for there to be leaks, especially like this close to launch. I think it was either Sun and Moon or it was Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon that I think like had like the copies were released like I think like around the same time, where some people were getting their hands on them like stupid early, and they were releasing content, and then Nintendo had to go around bringing down the ban hammer on these people to be like, nope, just don't release this, don't talk about this yet. And it's also like just something that as a Pokemon fan I've come to expect, where it's like this close to launch, I'm like, all right, I just gotta watch out for leaks, because I want to try to like keep the game as like fresh as possible. I mean, despite the fact that I'm like replaying the original one, like I want things to be a surprise. I want to be surprised by the next games. I don't want to spoil it for myself, because I've done that in the past. I think I did that with Sun and Moon. But then again, Sun and Moon wasn't very good either.
I have no problem with Sun and Moon.
I mean, like, Sun and Moon was just okay for me. And then when I got to Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I thought the whole story was going to revolve around Rainbow Rocket. And I was like, that sounds amazing. And I got both of them. And then you know what happened? It wasn't that. It was just Sun and Moon with like an extra little flavor to it. And then they're just like, oh, Rainbow Rocket's like endgame DLC, like endgame content. I'm like, this is no. Like, I played through basically the exact same game just to get to like some really short endgame content, where I'm like, this could have been a really cool story. And then you just went, like, now I just have like Ultra Sun and I haven't even touched Ultra Moon. Still brand new. Like, I haven't touched it, haven't played it, and I'm just like, that's such a disappointment. But I mean, I've been looking forward to these Gen 4 remakes for quite a long time, and you already know me. I'm already super hyped for this next game. Legends RC is coming up. I'm really curious to see if there's going to be like how many tie-ins are going to be between the two, and I'm also curious to see if they're actually going to let some of the regional variants from Legends Arceus cross over into Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl at some point in the future using Pokemon Home.
Okay. Mildewy, thoughts?
I mean, kind of like Gravity said, it's not uncommon to hear a lot of leaks about Pokemon. It's one of the oldest. It's a really old game series that's out there, and people go nuts with it. So the fact that some people have got early copy hands on, it doesn't surprise me, especially overseas in Japan and all. You probably have a lot of people who've gotten early access copies and are posting videos and all, or you got the ones that are making fake videos with effects and all. You're going to see that a lot nowadays, especially with the capabilities that you got from video editing software and stuff. So people
We
are
have the
probably
technology.
making exactly. So with Gravity, don't believe everything that you see on there. Definitely check and triple check sources if you want to go that deep. But them starting to leak stuff doesn't surprise me if someone does have their hands on the early release stuff, because they'll do that. But like Gravity said, Nintendo be like ban, 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 ban. They have no qualms using that ban hammer. They give it to all their employees. Say here, just use it. If you even see a word Pokemon, just slap them with it. So
Let the kids play with it.
Pretty much.
Go ban your friends.
Excuse me, is that our trademark?
It's like the Flintstones. Bam, 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 bam. Anyways, besides dating myself there, yeah, no, I'm excited for Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl to see the remastered version of it from when I originally played it on. Good God, it's been so long on the what was that? The DS Gravity?
That was the DS.
Yeah, the DS system. Like, it's been ages since I've played that one, so I can't wait for it. I still need to get Sword. I haven't gotten that one yet for my Switch, so I still need to get that and play through it. But I am kind of curious because, if I remember right, kind of like you said, Gravity, Arceus does take place in pre-Johto, right?
It takes place in. It actually still takes place in Sinnoh, but
Zeno?
technically,
was it Johto?
yeah. So the name of this region is called the Hisuian region, but it's technically like what Sinnoh was called before it was called Sinnoh, and it takes place sometime, I think, like 100 years before the events of Diamond and Pearl. So it's like, you're what is the main town called?
What I
It's
do need you guys to
called
do is I need you guys
something.
to translate that, because I don't speak Spanish.
So
It's,
we're talking about the
oh,
regions. So pretty much like in
It's called
Pokemon.
Jubilife Village.
In Pokemon, you have like different regions, which is why you've heard me talk about before about Pokemon World.
Mm.
Literally, they have a full freaking world built.
Is Indigo part of that?
Yeah, in the Indigo Plateau. It's in.
That's like the only thing I remember from the original.
Shit. I'm trying to remember where that was at.
Well, I'm glad you at least know that part.
I know, right?
That was like the dream, was to have all of the regions like stitched together, because they at least had, at least with Gen 2, they had both Kanto and Johto in the same game. Now the Kanto region was like shrunk down significantly compared to the original Game Boy version, but like that was always the dream, was to connect them. But I'm actually kind of I'm glad that with Legends Arceus, it sounds like they're going to be kind of taking almost a Monster Hunter route, where you're going to have like your main town, and they're going to have you go on missions. Because if they were going to go full scale open world now, I'd be a little worried, be a little concerned, because I just don't think Game Freak is there yet. They've shown improvements, especially with a lot of the DLC for Sword and Shield, where all of that was open world. I'm like, oh, this is kind of okay. This isn't that bad. But like, I also don't think that they're quite there. And regarding Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I'm actually glad that they're going with the chibi formats because I just think that that's what they do best.
And if you think about that, that is a great reference to the older ones anyway. Like Ruby, like they kind of seem to be the pixelated type. Chibi is kind of like an upgraded version of the pixelated. So I agree with you.
Yeah, no, I have no qualms with that whatsoever with the chibi because Diamond and Pearl, like where that was just the chibi character walking around, and when you go into battle, yes, you have your full blown character there. But other than that, it's okay with me. I was just trying to remember what the positioning of Arceus was with. I couldn't remember if it was in Johto, Kanto, or because I think I'm trying to remember where Diamond took place.
Diamond and Pearl took place in the Sinnoh region, so that one took place in the Sinnoh. Yeah, that one took place in the Sinnoh region, which again, like the Legends Arceus game, like takes place in the Hisui region, which is supposed to be like Sinnoh, but like 100 years before it was called Sinnoh. And so you have like Jubilife Village, which is going to be like your home base, but it's like Jubilife Village instead of like Jubilife City, which is what it ends up becoming down the line. But it's so far, like everything I've seen from that looks amazing, and especially since they've been introducing so many regional variants. That's, again, like I was saying, kind of where I'm a little excited to see whether or not they're going to have some of those regional variants cross over into Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, because they probably won't allow it at first, but like as soon as these games are released, and odds are, since people are already getting their hands on them pre-release, we're probably going to be seeing some data mines coming out very, very soon. So like we're going to be seeing like the entire code, the entire Pokedex, any surprises that the Pokemon Company was like, oh man, can't wait, like they're gonna be so surprised. They're like, we see the file for it right here.
They're gonna have they're gonna data mine for the sprites and everything for sure.
I do want to ask you guys one thing then, real fast, just concerning the games. Do we know? Because I know that Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl is pretty much Ruby and Diamond remade, right? That's what it sounds like it is.
It's Diamond and Pearl.
Diamond and Pearl. So, what's the latest one of Red, Blue, and Yellow remade? I mean, I'm assuming they've done that already.
No.
They haven't done it. Okay.
Well, no. They did that was Fire Red and Leaf Green, but that was like GBA days.
That was So that was definitely back in the.
It was also Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, which was more of a Pokemon Yellow remake.
And that's kind of was,
but it was kind of like also one that was crossed with Pokemon, Go though, is what it felt like more of. But yeah, I definitely kind of agree with the Pokemon Yellow, with that. But yeah, they haven't remade. They remade the Fire Red and Leaf Green back on the Game Boy Advance series. The most recent remake was... trying to remember here.
Was that Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire?
I want to say
yes. Those were the remakes for Gen 3 for the original Ruby and Sapphire, but those ones actually were closer, I think, to Emerald in terms of story and content. But I am curious, though, because you did say that they are potentially putting in, what is it, the Battle Tower? Or not the Battle Tower. I can't remember the name of it now.
For which one?
So it was,
They got several different towers. Like...
No, it wasn't a tower. It was like the battle arena, or it was the battle factory, something like that. It was a feature that.
Which one was it in?
So it was in only. It was only, I think, in Pokemon Emerald. But when they redid Ruby and Sapphire, and they made Omega Ruby and Omega Alpha Sapphire, people were kind of upset that the Battle Frontier.
Battle Frontier.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that people were upset that they didn't put the Battle Frontier in there. And they even like had a spot in the game where they're like, hey, this is where the Battle Frontier would be, but we didn't put it in. And so now that like there's a potential like possibility that it could actually be in these remakes, that's actually something that wasn't in the original ones unless it was in Platinum. But sadly, I never got my hands on Platinum, so But I mean, if they put Platinum content in this, then that just means I get to experience Platinum content on my Switch instead.
There you go.
Yep. But yeah, it was Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee was a remake of the Yellow version Special Pikachu Edition. The last one after that was Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Then you had Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and before that was Fire Red and Leaf Green.
Because that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like when I got my Switch at the earlier part of this year, when I got my Switch, I was thinking, all right, cool. I may not have a huge Switch library right now. I got my Switch because I am looking forward to games that's coming out. But I was like, I don't have a big library right now, but I can go back and take a look at those old Game Boy games. Maybe get some of those in my arsenal, get those in my library. And I went to search for it, and they're not even there. And I was like, okay. And also on top of that, even if they were there, it just makes me wonder how much would they be, because Nintendo's not known for their discounts. So I'm just kind of like, I'm wondering at that point, like,
full price.
Yeah, I won't be surprised if it's full price.
I mean, look at the recent launch with the old N64 game.
Yeah, like it's just something that's like a little ridiculous. but that was one thing that I kind of was looking forward to, and I think that would be something that would make me even more excited. Like this news right now about the leaks for Pokemon leaks for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. It doesn't really do anything for me because I know that when I do eventually get a Pokemon game, and if it does happen to be Brilliant Diamond or Shining Pearl, like I don't think that that's going to mess up anything storyline content with that. If they do what they did on Sword and Shield, which I'm looking forward to, and have multiplayer aspects in there, that's something I'll be down to jump on with you guys with. Like I'll be excited to do that.
They kind of do, not really. Like they have the wild area. And with the wild area, it's like just basically this like center hub in the middle of the map where you can turn on like Wi-Fi and stuff, and you can connect with people. It's just kind of like people just running around, not really doing much. Like I don't even think there's like limit physics, like in terms of like bumping physics, like you can like phase into people. It just doesn't really feel. Like, it's just kind of like multiplayer, but people are there. Like, it doesn't feel like...
So is it like actual, can you actually like go against people and stuff in this? Or is it just like...
Yeah, but it's honestly like the format for actually like battling with people is like just closer to just like, oh, hey, like let me just go to my menu, select this person, and then let's like request to battle them.
So sort of like a hub.
For them. Yeah, like it's better to like go like in like just go to your menu options and select it that way. Like I don't even know if you can actually do it, like interact with other people in the overworld. I've never really tried, but like I know that like the few times I have done it, it's just it lags the heck out of my game, for one thing, and then it just doesn't look good. Like everyone's just like just riding their bikes around, just like riding through each other. Like it just looks sloppy, and every time I'm in the wild area, I'm just like, man, I'm just gonna turn this off. Like I don't wanna do this. It's like, no, I'm good. But they do, like Nintendo like does have like the original Pokemon games. Like I have the original Pokemon Red on my 3DS.
But it's not on the Switch though.
It's not on the Switch.
And that's where it comes. That's where it's a problem for me because I don't have any other Nintendo consoles.
It's a problem for me. I would buy it all over again on my Switch. Like I don't think they understand. I have the OG blue Game Boy cartridge. I have the OG red on my 3DS. I am willing to buy the same game a third time. All they have to do is just make it playable on the Switch. That's all they have to do, and you have my money.
I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but they really need to take a page out of Bethesda. Just Skyrim. Just keep re-releasing it.
a little Rockstar action right there.
They could do a whole, literally, because of the size of those games.
Pokemon Red Special Edition.
Well, because here's the thing, because the size of those games, you gotta remember, this came out on the original Game Boy, so the size of it was not huge comparative to nowadays. Yeah. You could literally bundle all of those games together and do like a Pokemon multi-game pack and sell it on there, and I can guarantee you would make buku dollars from the fans. Like literally, there's all those games in there for maybe like $60, like all of them. Like,
but own them. You can't rent them like they have.
No. Like I said, make a bundle pack, full $60. You get, Red red, blue, green. You get red, blue, yellow, gold, silver, platinum. You get all that stuff in there for like $60 or so. You would definitely sell like in a heartbeat. Like
Yeah.
you would have so many keys going out the door, it'd be ridiculous. But
Yeah.
the only problem I have with that is just kind of like what we saw with the current release of their old N64 games, is that there was problems with those old graphics on the newer system and with save capabilities on the new Switch system. So unless they went in and fully recoded it to make sure it worked with the Switch and all, which would take a bit, if they just did a copy and paste like they did with the other one, it's not going to go well.
And that's exactly what it was. It was literally a copy. It was the same game. No remasters, not even a pixel remax or whatever the hell that is. It literally was just the same exact game, and they just sold it to you on a subscription. Not if you don't even own it. Well, if that subscription's out, the game's out.
Yep.
Well, the thing about it is basically, I've seen remasters being done. You're seeing quite a bit of them now. Castlevania's just released theirs, their advanced collections, and I heard that was pretty good. And it's a reasonable price to where it's $20 and get like, I think 3 or 4 of the older ones. I've got Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid 2, and Metal Gear and Silent Hill 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like the most of those, I think 4 was like $10. I want to say the other ones were $5 per like Metal Gear Solid. I think Guns of the Patriots, not Guns of the Patriots, Sons of Liberty. But if you price it right and can release it right to it, you might do a bit of touch-ups, but you want to keep it as much as possible to the original. But if you can price it right, it can be launched. The problem with Nintendo is
let's go
pricing.
That's the only one.
Yeah, well,
$60.
I mean, if you're gonna release a game nowadays for $60, even nowadays some games are touching $70, then they better be worth it.
Yeah.
You can't release Pokemon, like the first 4 Pokemon, and say $60 for that. No, and you're not going to really touch it up. You just re-release it.
Yep. Make it accessible for current gen consoles.
Yeah, they need to do more.
At that point, at that point, just like you said, Dimeball, just pull up Bethesda card and just remake it, remaster
Bethesda
it.
And Rockstar.
I mean,
they've been doing it
I feel
since
like
PS3.
Yeah, but
They're gonna do
Skyrim did it first.
Well, like I said, just get on that train.
I mean, I feel like a lot of it has to do with just Game Freak just not being able to like match the demands of what gamers really kind of want out of Pokemon. Because like we've seen, I mean, I'm sorry, Kenna Bridge of Spirits. Look at what Ember Labs did with Kenna Bridge of Spirits with such a small team. They made a game that was so first game. It was amazing. It was beautiful. Like it played very well. It looked and sounded beautiful. And so it's just one of those things where nowadays I'm one of those people who I'm just like, hey, like Game Freak, you can still like be in charge, but like just outsource to another really good like gaming studio. Like the Pokemon company is doing that with basically every other game. Like they partnered with Niantic for Pokemon Go. I don't remember who they partnered. I think they partnered with DNA for the Pokemon like EX or whatever it is, Pokemon Masters, also a mobile game. And so like they've been partnering with like some of their smaller titles, or mainly like their mobile titles. Like they've partnered with other developers, and they turn out pretty well. I mean, like if you look at Coliseum and like XD Gale of Darkness for the GameCube, I'm pretty sure they partnered with someone else like other than Game Freak to make those, and those turned out really well. And at this point, it's just like Game Freak. I feel like they're hitting the ceiling, or they've already kind of realized that they've hit that ceiling of what they're capable of doing, and so it's either get more talent in to step your game up, or, and hear me out here, do what literally every other gaming company is doing and just partner with another company to start doing your graphics, doing your assets, doing your textures, doing your animations. Like, just to do something, like to make it look good. Like one of the most recent trailers for Legends Arceus, even though I am still going to buy that absolutely like on launch day, like I showed like that trailer to Abby and I was like, look at the trees. These look like N64 trees.
Mm-hmm.
Like the trees in this game look like they are from the N64. And it's just one of those things where I'm like, I'm still super psyched for it, but at the same time, like it's just like what's the excuse at this point? Like it almost just is like they're trying but not trying hard enough, I think.
It feels like they're trying to keep it to the theme, the original content theme of like the style of the older games. Still trying to make it a newer one, and to be honest, they just need to stop because they've got the capability to do this. Like we've seen,
Whatever,
like with Sword and Shield, they've got the capability. Even on the 3DS with what was it? Shoot, it was one of the games on 3DS where it was like literally like you had like a 3D character kind of walking around on that one. Like they've got the power, they've got the capability. They just don't use it right, or they don't use it in a way that could advance them so far. Like they've got this ability, like we said, to make these open worlds and all, but because they're not used to multiplayer capabilities, they're not used to multiplayer aspects besides just a battle royale coliseum battles and all, they're very hesitant to step forward with it. But they've got the capability of being able to do so. They've got such a rich world and environment with a good lore and history. Like they've got so much written for it. Like, and there's so much more with the anime, the manga, the trading cards. Like this is literally a group that could literally go above and beyond and truly exceed if they just stepped out of their comfort zone and not even like get a third company to do the job for them, but bring them in to help them with their team get up to that point to do the job right, to really get themselves going. It just they could do it. I just feel like they're not doing it fast enough. Like I think Nine Ball said this before, they're still on the Roadrunner fax machines. So once we can upgrade them and get them going into the 22nd century, whichever one it's going to be, 2077 or something like that, we'll get them there. But they've got the capability to do it, and they've got really good games and really good stories. It's just they really just need to step up to what people are looking for.
You ever seen Game of Thrones? They're still using them carrier pigeons.
well, one thing I will say that is not currently on the slow cooker trying to get to the next destination is story number 3, which is let's talk about Elden Ring Resolution. Wesley LeBlanc, from Game Informer, after speculation over a quality and performance mode discovered via Elden Ring purchase listing from software has revealed that the official specs and compatibility details for the upcoming RPG. The PS5 and Xbox Series X versions will be identical. Both have resolution mode that prioritizes a 4K resolution with 30 FPS lock, and a performance mode that will prioritize 60 FPS gameplay with a dynamic resolution that adjusts while playing to ensure that a 60 FPS frames rate remains stable. Both new-gen consoles support ray tracing via patch and HDR as well. The Xbox Series S will support resolutions up to 1440p and a 60 FPS frame rate via performance mode. It also supports HDR but won't include ray tracing. On the PS4 Pro, expect 1800 1800. I want to say 1080, but I was just like, that's not 1080. But anyway,
no, that's 1800.
Yeah, 1800p, 1800 resolution, and 30 FPS frame rate in HDR. The standard PS4 doesn't support HDR, so don't expect it there. You can expect a resolution up to 1080p with 30 FPS though. Xbox One consoles will support up to 4K resolutions, HDR, and 30 FPS frame rate. Xbox One consoles will hit resolutions in Elden Ring up to 900p and frame rate of 30 FPS, but HDR will not be available. Both older Xbox and PlayStation Elden Ring saves can be transferred to the new gen consoles. PS5 saves cannot be transferred back to the PS4 though, whereas Xbox Series X/S saves can be transferred on Xbox One consoles. On PC, the maximum resolution is 4K and maximum frame rate is 60 FPS.
Oh,
Did you say 900 for Xbox One?
yeah, God. Oh, punch
Oh,
it fire.
God.
Oh, God.
What did they do?
Oh, Jesus.
So I don't think I have to ask you guys what you guys think about this story.
God,
I mean, good for them. They're getting some decent specs on the other consoles, and PC always is going to be above and beyond because of the current specs and capabilities.
Yeah, but a 60 frame rate lock, like.
No, that's 900p with a frame rate.
No. We're talking about for PC.
PC, 4K.
Maximum frame rate is 60 FPS. I've got monitors and stuff that run up to 140.
Yeah, mine is 144 now.
Yeah, 144 FPS. That's what that's what my monitors and my GPUs can handle. Like seriously, like a 60 FPS frame lock for a PC?
Mm-hmm. Let us free.
Exactly.
Hashtag free us.
I'm like, what is causing you to lock it so hard? Like, did they just do some testing and then the PC just blew up?
Well, let me ask you this, because again, obviously you guys know more about tech than I do, but if you're doing 4K, are you able to do a higher resolution than 60?
Yeah, there's people that doing 18 and 16K right now.
Yeah, so 4K is just the resolution capability and how much pixelation is going to be inside the monitor. Mm-hmm. FPS is frames per second.
Right.
So it's in other words, how much of it's going to be like from 1 second of a scene to the next second of a scene. Like how smooth is it going to be? The lesser FPS you have, it's going to look a bit more choppy, especially on higher resolutions. But the higher the FPS is, the more smooth it's going to be, to where it's almost like you're looking at it in real life.
So again, if I have a 4K, which is pushing out the best, well, not the best, but one of the higher end resolutions that you can get right now, and I have a high frame rate, not like
it's gonna look incredibly smooth.
Yeah, it's gonna look
it's not
really
gonna,
smooth.
It's not gonna affect the quality of the 4K at all.
It should.
So the 4K is gonna make a picture. So pretty much think of it this way: if you were to take a picture and put it on a 4K TV, it's gonna look fantastic because the 4K resolution goes based off like the colors. Just like the smoothness of the lines, geometry, and everything inside that picture. So it pretty much makes that picture look real life. Frames per second is the capability of taking that picture and running it through its sequence. So like, you know, in the olden days when you were to put a picture on like a spin wheel and you had to do like the very first animations where pretty much they put the pictures on and you spun around, it's just like do.
Yeah, think of like Mario's run cycle. It was like
flipbook.
Pretty much the flipbook. Frames per second is that. Yeah. So you still got the 4K resolution on making it look beautiful and all. But if you put it through an animation step and you have such a low FPS, it's going to look a bit choppy in terms of like getting from point A to point B of the character. It still looks fantastic in a still shot, but in terms of the animation mode, it's not the best. The higher the frame rate, the better you are going to have in terms of getting that smooth reactions, the smooth running times of like movement, action, seeing the attack frequency, movement speeds, not being choppy slashes and all. Like you're talking like full, like it's going to be more fluid, very fluid.
So in that, because again, when I'm just looking at this, when I look at the little highlights, again, 4K with 30 FPS, but then performance, you can have 60 FPS, but high resolution.
60 still, it's not. I wouldn't say 60 is absolutely terrible. It's pretty standard on most games to run at around 60. I know most of the time though, on like I've listened to like a lot of pros. I watched like a channel called the esports or something, and they talked about how frame rate's really affecting because like on CS:GO and them. Pro gamers will actually turn down their resolution and go to like 500 frames per second because the more frame rates you have, the more you're going to see that threat before it hits you.
So now that's the question that I have right there is that why would I have to turn down my frame rate, my resolution? It
depends on how much it can put out. Your consoles have a set amount, like for example, 60. This has the PS5, for example, has the same hardware in all of them. This is why it's easier to make games for consoles than PC. Console games are all standard. So if it's 60 for this one, it's 60 for that one, it's 60 for that one.
Right.
And like I said, 60 is pretty much a standard FPS. It's not terrible. It's not bad. It's pretty good. It's good. I've run games at 60. It runs excellent. I prefer now to go farther up, but on competition games, or if games are like really like if you're playing really serious, that's more of a frame rate thing. But if you're just playing like a more of a single player game, like I think Elden Ring is, well, it has some
No, other one's
multiplayer.
multiplayer,
Yeah, I watched that. I watched that trailer for it. But oh god, what was I saying? It has multiplayer. But if you're not really going seriously, yeah, you can go 60, 4K 60. It's still good. 900 at this rate is basically unacceptable.
He's
Yeah,
like,
900 resolution is like you're backlogging back to old like
It's
boxes.
terrible. I had a game that logged in at 900, and I had to switch the resolution immediately. It looks so bad now.
So, and again, the only reason why I had the question, which you guys answered, but the only reason why I had the question is like, how come at that point people don't like? How come developers don't just go with the higher resolution and the higher frame rate? Because and when I see this format, it's like you have higher resolution and then a lower frame rate, or you get a higher frame rate but a lower resolution. You never really see high and high.
It's what it's putting out.
It has to do with stress. So during times of like intense action and stuff, it'll put more stress on your system, which may cause slowdowns.
So the reason, the reason why it's also that way is because it's the combination of the CPU and the GPU is what frame rates are based on. So the GPU and CPU handle both in terms of resolution and frame rate.
Mm-hmm.
Think of like Nineball said, is it's a stress capability. So can the GPU handle not only a 1800p resolution, but also say 144 hertz frame rate? Can it handle both those? And can the CPU then also process that?
Can it handle?
Does it have enough? Does it have enough cores to run that capability? Can it run that process at that high of speed? And not only that, can it run it, but can it run it for a long period of time? Because you got to remember, gamers are going to be going at this for probably 8 hours plus, almost each day, depending upon how they gameplay at minimum. On average, probably is a better way to say it. So you got to stress it. If you were to put it at max settings, is it going to handle it? That's why PCs have the capability of doing, a lot of systems have a lot of capability of doing what's called overclocking, to where they have the set core limits saying here's what this should be able to go up to safely, but they have a capability and they're saying if you want to go ahead and overclock it in order to turn it up towards like you go beyond those limits, you could do so, but you're at risk of frying the element, either the GPU or the CPU. So
go ahead.
That's one of the reasons why we were like 60 FPS for PCs, because PCs had the capability of either being more capable built of handling higher frame rates in a standard point, or even just overclocking themselves to the higher point. Consoles don't have that because they are a very limited build and they don't have the full set that a PC does have.
It's an enclosed system.
Exactly. It's still enclosed and all. The main issues that a lot of times they have is with heatsink capabilities, but with PCs, you've got coolant systems that you can install in that are easily able to handle that extra heat that is generated from overclocking, from going above those frame rates. So it's a lot of
do that for
stuff.
a PlayStation 2. You just gotta give it an ice pack, put it on the top of it.
Well, there's a second problem too.
As then the water melts down and fries the system,
There's a second issue with PlayStations as well, and I never thought about this till I think it was Jay's 2 cents I was watching, and he explained something that PCs have that consoles don't. That's power.
Oh, shoot, I forgot.
Run probably about 400 watts of power. I run an absurdly amount of power. I think like a 1200 watt power supply. I don't know why I bought one, because I was just for my first build. I was like, I want to make sure I have enough power. So I bought an absurdly, I think I would say at least 1,000 watt, 90 plus gold power supply.
I was about to say, is it gold? Please tell me you got gold.
Yeah, it's gold. It's gold. It is absurdly powerful. I could run 2 GPUs in here. Like right now, I'm currently running a GPU. I'm running my CPU and all that in there. Plus, I'm running 4 hard drives. and it's really having no problems with it because it hasn't even begun to tap it. Consoles don't have that much power to really tap into. Plus, I'm overclocking my GPU and CPU.
I gotta stop you for a hot second because you literally sounded like Frieza when you're like, you haven't seen my final form just now.
Yeah, 9-ball overclocks. I don't like overclocking just because I'm kind of the safe person. Like, I don't like the risk of possibly frying my units. That's just me.
It's a personal thing. It's just peace. I was watching that because I was just bringing that up because I was watching that on JC Since I never thought about that. He was talking about when the consoles were launching and stuff about that. Because it's one of the big things with them. They didn't say it was bad. They said the stuff in the PlayStation 5s in them are really good. They're comparable to. They said the GPUs are comparable to about, I think, 2080s or something.
2080. Okay.
I think around a 20 series. With RTXs with high dynamic resolution, ray tracing, you've got the power supply, the SSDs are in there, and PlayStation is allowing you now to open it and customize it because
with an NVMe,
only certain types. But I mean, it's good to see PlayStation finally, because PlayStation is really hesitant. Let's say really hesitant about changing things. They was like, remember when I'm sorry for bringing this up, but Fortnite. You remember Fortnite went crossplay?
Mm-hmm.
It took Sony a long time to get on board.
Oh yeah, trust me, we remember.
Yeah, I'm glad to see Sony's opening more up to that and letting people, do things with their consoles to let them easily put in NVMEs and stuff. Because, like I said, I like the PS5. It is an excellent tech of hardware, and if you can find one at the retail price, it's definitely worth the buy.
Preach. Retail price is the key.
Yeah, and the specs, and going back to this, the specs on this is not bad. 4K is excellent. We got a 4K TV, 60 frames per second is excellent. And I'm not a huge fan now of 30. I played a game at 30 frames. From going from 60 on up, and you drop down to 30, you will notice it.
Yep.
I would prefer, if you have to drop, I would drop your resolution down to 1080, then and go 1080 60 before I drop and go from 4K to 30.
Yep.
Because the smooth movements make a huge difference.
Oh yeah, like 30 FPS. Like, because I remember like the PS4 I have was only doing, I think, like whenever, like the rare occasions I would play Apex, it would only get up to like, I think, 34 FPS, and I was like, man, this is okay. But then I actually tried it on the Series S, and I was like, oh hey, like this is actually hitting like 60 FPS, and I was like when you go from like 30 to 60, like it looks like butter, and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah, the turning and targeting so much better.
And then you have Abs, who, when she was going real hard on Apex on PC, like she would get real upset some days, and I'm like, oh, what's wrong? And she's like, I can only get it up to like 144 FPS. She's like, I've turned the graphics down all the way. And she's like, I can only get it up to 144 FPS. Like, this is, like, I can't play competitive if I do this. And I'm like, I mean, that seems like a lot.
just a tad.
It seems like enough, but, like, maybe I'm wrong, and I'm definitely wrong.
But to sum it all up, the PC specs, it's like, come on, Xbox, don't even go there.
Well, and that's actually kind of when I wanted to take it. So going back to the Elden Ring resolution and everything like that, we talked that portion of it. Is anybody planning on getting Elden Ring in this group?
Possibly, but not at launch.
Yeah, I'm kind of still... Yeah, jury's still out for me. I'm kind of just monitoring it for now.
So I think I'm going to be your guys' guinea pig once again, because that 15-minute video had sold me completely on it. I watched the whole thing live. It was great. I loved every bit of it. And
they put that cheese in that maze.
They
did right after.
They did, and that's okay. I ate through walls and everything.
So long as the wife approves, that's all that matters.
Yeah, facts. Story number 4 is a quick one, which is Be the First Soldier. Wesley LeBlanc, also from Game Informer. We're kind of going in pairs here. I like what we're doing here. Final Fantasy VII remake. Remake. Whew, that's on my mind. Final Fantasy VII,
Remake.
The First Soldier, a mobile battle royale set in Midgard will release this month. Square Enix had previously stated that The First Soldier will be released in November, as reported by IGN, but thanks to the new opening cinematic that debuted on YouTube earlier today, we know that the exact date, November 17th. That's less than 2 weeks away. What better way to get excited about the dubs you'll hopefully be getting in the new Battle Royale than by watching a new opening movie for The First Soldier. Set 30 years before the events of Final Fantasy VII, the First Soldier is about, well, the first soldiers that the Shinra Electric Company began using to outskirt battlefields in Midgard. I kind of like that angle. Alright, back to the story. As expected, the opening movie is completely CG, and it doesn't really feature anything to do with the actual Battle Royale aspect in The First Soldier, save for the last few seconds to show some characters jumping out of the helicopter in a very Battle Royale fashion. End story. So, this is a game which I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, First Soldier is going to be a free download. It's a mobile game. It is a battle royale. Everything's pretty much a battle royale, but I do like the angle. Like, again, you guys already know me. Final Fantasy, I love Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy 7 is among the top for me. And then right up there is like a really close like second with 8 and 10 like trying to take that spot. And that does include the remake, by the way, for my first spot. This right here, I think, is really cool because it does kind of show you, even though it has nothing to do with 7 in general, it also kind of does have something to do with 7 because it does talk about Soldier, which are like one of the known antagonist groups, I guess you could say, of Final Fantasy. There's so many different groups in Final Fantasy. You have the Turks, you have Avalanche, you have Soldier. You have all these different types of groups that's in Final Fantasy 7, and I think seeing how Soldier was, which was a big deal back at the time, because that's what Sephiroth used to be. He was one of the best in Soldier, period. Then Cloud, also in Soldier. Zack, also in Soldier, which some of you guys may not know who Zack is, but you guys will find out later on. Like, all of that good stuff I think is really cool to kind of see the first soldiers that were being made and put inside this battle realm, battling out to see how they can actually fight on the battlefield. I think it's a really cool idea. If it's free, it's for me, and I'm very curious of checking this out and giving it a good weekend of fun and seeing if it's something that will stick with me or not.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm ever the pessimist here. I personally think it'll have a strong launch, but I don't think it's going to live very long.
That's fine. I mean, it is. Oh, go ahead.
It's in that spot where it's hitting battle royale fatigue, and I'm noticing that some of these games, I just checked Spellbreak's numbers. They are just floundering at this point. It's a lot of these companies that are coming out with battle royales are just dying because everybody's tired of battle royales. There's so many of them, and it doesn't really matter if it's a Final Fantasy. Yeah, it's going to draw Final Fantasy 7 fans, but the question is, drawing a Final Fantasy 7 fan is one thing. You have to keep them.
Yeah,
and that's the more important thing.
Yeah,
it's keeping people engaged.
Give them pretty
now,
hats and
Fortnite's found some way to do it. It's mainly because it's pop culture. A lot of kids.
The first ones too. And
they were
the first one, but they were one of the first. Like they were towards the beginning era of this.
Yeah, but it's been
H1Z1, yeah, PUBG.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's been integrated into pop culture.
Yeah,
which is a very smart way to do it. Kids, talk about, he just playing I forgot what they call it now, the norm skin or something. If you ain't got no skin or something, and
you're playing default.
Yeah, default.
Yeah,
it's so many. Yeah, and you got pop culture, you got rap, you got different things. They just recently put, I seen on a PlayStation when I turned it on that they got League of Legends.
Yeah, they got Jinx in there. Yep,
they put Jinx in there. Because which from the new Arcane show, which I watched, and it's surprisingly pretty good.
I really want to check that out.
Yeah, there's a lot of League of Legends references. It's more than just Jinx and Vi. You got like several other characters. that are in there as well. You will see.
Don't spoil it.
I'm not going to spoil it, but this one, it's probably going to launch, hit about a few thousand on the first couple. I think it'll just probably meander out unless they can somehow, get that Phoenix down that they gave a Rim Reborn. And use it over here and somehow pull some magic off.
Now,
I think. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I think they might be able to pull it off in a couple different ways here, but kind of going off of what you were saying, Nineball. Like, I definitely think that they could do some lore tie-ins, like with this game, with the remakes. Because if they can do some lore tie-ins, like if there's like some like bit of story or some bit of lore that you can only get if you play the mobile game, like people who are already playing the remakes are going to play this. I definitely think it's going to be something that probably will start off like really strong, and then I don't know how long it's going to go. But at least for me personally, this is like the battle royale like I've been waiting for. This is the one where I'm like, oh, you can choose. I don't have to shoot guns. I can just like run up and just like hit people.
Slash them.
Like I want to slash them. I want to cast fire on them. I want to summon Bahamut and just mow people over. But one other thing that I did notice with this that I was actually kind of upset with for a little while was that it's the fact that it's only on mobile.
Mm-hmm.
That
and I was like, and I'm like, that's kind of annoying. But I didn't really consider the potential for like this actually being a bigger game in other countries.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at other countries, especially like China, and especially like India, those countries are in those regions are big, like they're really big into mobile gaming, where they don't have a PC, they don't have a console. And it's one thing to like think about gaming from the perspective of like somebody that like lives in America and has all like or like Europe or wherever and has access to all that stuff. But like if you're somewhere where like maybe the only thing you have is like a smartphone that can like run these games, like that might be your world. That might be where your gaming is. And it might not be very big in like it might like be really big here in the States and then like last a little bit, but who knows, like in these other countries it might last a while and it might have some prolonged life.
And I agree with that, and I do think that is one of the things that's going to happen, because even if you think about Dissidia NT, that was huge. That was huge on the little what's Konami have again, the little arcade stands or whatever it is, the Pinko machines, like that, like the style that NT was, the city NT was absolutely huge in Japan. It came on over here, and I own it and I do enjoy it, but it's not anything that's like crazy. Want to give a shout out on over here to Buene Hate. I apologize if I missaid your name. First time chatter. Thank you very much again for tuning in and hanging out with us. Appreciate you. But yeah, no, I think that for me, I'm going to be jumping inside Final Fantasy VII, the Battle Royale for a Soldier. I'm going to go into it. I'm going to be excited about it and everything like that. But I personally am not delusional to the point where I think I'm going to be maintained. Like I'm just typically not really the type of a major gamer. I'm not typically the major gamer at all, really. I'm a mobile gamer, I should say. I'm not really the biggest mobile gamer period out there. But Final Fantasy VII, I'm down for that. Battle Royales, I'm a little washed up, but I'm down for that. You know what I mean? Like, I'll go ahead and give it a good solid weekend. Especially if I can play with my friends and it's free. If it's free, it's for me. I'm all for it. So yeah.
I just see it being microtransaction heavy.
It will be. It's a battle royale. It's
a battle royale on a mobile
It depends on how
system.
they do it. If you do it right, it's not too invasive.
When have they done microtransactions right, Nineball?
Warframe did an excellent job on there.
Okay, that's one. And
that's
not
all
mobile.
You need? I'm just kidding.
Well, they're not on mobile. Which mobile one's the right?
Why
it'll
be on mobile soon. It'll be on Steam Deck soon.
League of Legends,
Wrong
I believe
mobile.
League of Legends Wild Rift, I don't believe has a lot of problems with microtransactions either.
That's wild. League of Legends has been kind of unique with their stuff, though. They don't have too much besides base character skins and all. But I just feel like this one they could go in with weapons, gear, skins.
You don't want to do
items
pay
and
to
all.
win. You never want to get. If you get hit with
I-
pay to win, you are doomed.
I know. I feel like
if
it's
it's pay to win,
I feel like it's a possibility that this thing could
Yeah.
that could possibly
You-
come that way.
Malachi
Yeah.
and I are gonna throw like the biggest hissy fit.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta
If
see.
it's play to win.
You gotta see Malachi's phone just right there in the corner, just broke. Like, what happened? I'm
Phone's
playing.
gonna be
I'm playing.
We stuck in
What
the
do you mean
wall.
that guy paid $60 to get Sephiroth?
Yeah.
What?
Now,
$6.99.
now, am I going to do it? Probably, but still, I won't be happy about it. I'll be pouting the whole time. Yeah. So real fast. I mean, I know again. I know again that we're like on opposite sides of the spectrums and everything like that. But real fast, what do you like? Who all is planning on jumping on this with me, at least for a little bit, for First Soldier?
I can maybe
here.
give it a go.
Cool,
cool.
I wouldn't mind. I mean, I have to see. I gotta get a new phone anyway, so I might give it a go once I get the new phone and stuff.
Gotta get that Razer phone.
No, yeah.
You gotta get that new what's that flip phone that's got the flex screen on it that can go into full smartphone
Oh, I've
mode or
seen
flip
those. I can't remember the name of those myself.
Yeah, I haven't seen much of it recently, but I'm like, it's kind of interesting that they're trying to get that technology out to where it's like you go back to that slim Razer style almost with the smartphone capabilities now, towards like eventually.
I was talking about like the gaming company Razer.
Oh.
Yeah, no, they make some like pretty like heavy duty like gaming phones that have like built-in fans and stuff. Like
Just walk
like,
around with like a brick in your hand.
Yeah, it's basically like a brick where I'm like the ones that I've seen before, I'm just like I don't think that I would use that as like my daily driver like for a phone, but like if I'm gonna be like gaming, like it's got like it gives you like temperature stats, it gives you like heating options for it, like fan speeds. So like I know like that was like two different things where I'm like, trust me, like it's for gamers, but it's definitely it's got some more options than like your regular traditional smartphone.
Stop calling me mom. I'm on League of Legends trying to
Mom.
win. You're messing up my KDA, mom.
Get off the phone! They're taking the Nexus.
Yeah.
Stop testing
that
it.
phone.
Before
I'll pay for that KDA.
I pay for that KDA. That's a new one. That's a new one. Before we go into the story number 5, I want to give a shout out again for, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the name, Buena Hate. Yeah, feel free to message us. Right now, we are currently on a closed stream, so we're not taking on any newbies currently right now. But if you do have any games that you do like and that you wanted to go ahead and like talk about in the future, feel free to message us. Or if you're welcome to join in on the chat too as well, which I do see you commenting in. So thank you very much again for supporting us and hanging out with us.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. And we're going to go on over to story number 5. A new Nintendo console. ... already.
Just get a better Pokemon game first.
Yeah, I know, right? There we go. But anyway, Jay Peters from The Verge. You're preaching to the choir, man. Jay Peters from The Verge. Quote, the Nintendo Switch with an OLED screen isn't even a month old, but the company's already talking about some of the successor to its wildly popular console handheld hybrid, although vaguely. In a presentation to the investors, Nintendo hints towards some of its plans in an extremely unspecific way. The company plans to, quote, continue to expand businesses around the core concept of creating unique integrated hardware software products, end quote, which I'm taking to mean that the company will, brace yourself, make more video games and more video game hardware in the future. On the slide, which you can see for yourself on page 41 here in the PDF, and this is back again on The Verge. Nintendo also has a timeline for some of its hardware efforts, and specifically includes the next gaming system slated to release at undefined 20XX date. Parentheses, so sometimes between now and 2099, I guess. End parentheses. There's no hints as to what the hardware might look like, if it will be another hybrid like the Switch, or even just another revision of the Switch. The only image Nintendo concludes is a question mark. End story. So
Will they at least have Bluetooth installed on this one?
they should, and I think if anything, they're probably gonna. I think this is just hinting at a Switch Pro. That's all I think it really is. It's an actual official Switch Pro. I don't think it's going to be anything outside of what they're already done. OLED, I think, was a great idea.
But that should have like been standard like right off the bat.
I agree.
Like
They're
like
behind. We've
like
said it how many times?
Like the max resolution like on the OG Switch is just like 720. Like to an extent,
yeah, it's less than 900.
Yeah, like to an extent, I'm like with some games, I'm like I don't really care, especially since they're Nintendo games. Like they're not pumping out anything like super hardcore, but especially like with all of the games titles that they've been getting lately that have been like traditionally on like home consoles like PlayStation and Xbox, we're definitely gonna want some better hardware. And the fact that like I could turn 70 like before this next console comes out, like it's just that's a little ridiculous just to be like, oh, well, it'll come within the next like 100 years. Like, don't worry, it's coming. Like it.
I think that was just him being funny.
Yeah,
I don't think it'd be 100
not,
years.
yeah.
If anything, I was gonna joke like 2077.
Well, that was this comment that came out like before the OLED version came out. Like Nintendo said that like their next console was gonna come out like at some point at like 20XX, which like I remember that was like the big joke like when they first announced it, and then they were like, oh, here's the OLED. And they're like, oh, is this a Switch Pro? No, it just got a better screen. Oh, well, like what about the graphics, like the CPU, like is it any better? No, literally everything else is the same. Stick drift? Yeah, I still got that.
Can't forget the drift. Install the drift.
They installed that, not the freaking Bluetooth or the multiplayer chat.
Yeah.
I just
go ahead.
I mean, I think they're really just trying to keep their investors on because I feel like they are kind of just a little bit struggling to keep people enticed. Like, yeah, the Switch is doing really good and all, but I think with the recent things that we've seen with the issues with the old Nintendo 64 re-releases and all, and just some of the concerns people have had with some of the just mechanics going forward, especially with like no multiplayer chat capabilities. You have to use their Nintendo thing on the phones that only has like 2 games authorized for it, or they didn't even have their Bluetooth active for it. Like I think they're just kind of really struggling here. So I feel like they're trying to get themselves back up, and it's going to take a bit of work to do that.
Agreed.
I feel like it's also a sign of, especially like with Nintendo, like Nintendo's a little bit more obvious that like their main audience is like the Japanese audience, which I don't think is a bad thing. Like obviously, like if you are a Japanese company and you want to appeal to your your consumers like in Japan first, I think that's perfectly fine. Because like at the same time, like I think we think of it like from like a Western perspective, where like we expect like our expectations are like up here because like that's what we do. But like Japan does a lot of mobile gaming anyway. They do a lot of stuff on their phones because they're on the go a lot. They really do enjoy the Switch, and so like for them, like a lot of these upgrades, like I don't even, and full disclosure, I don't want to speak on anyone's behalf, but like it sounds like the Japanese market is probably just like they're just like, oh, this is okay. This is sugoi. This is good. This is fine. It's just I think that could also be it, which is why they're kind of like crawling at a snail's pace, because like we're already at PS5 level, whereas they're just kind of like, look, we got another Mario. We got the old one.
Again.
Again.
Yeah.
I think it kind of goes back to what you were talking about earlier with the Final Fantasy releases, that their market is kind of probably more heavily directed towards the mobile aspect of it, to where you're able to go around, portable around, move and go with it, versus sitting out with a larger power system or screen consoles, is the fact that they offer more maneuverability. Because over there, especially, they've got the transit systems where a lot of people tend to just ride on the trains and go around some places, so it's easier for them to sit down with their Switch in their hands and play, or have the kids play there, or play on their mobile phones on these games. So
well,
it probably does affect it in some way, to where it's like we over here don't have that. I mean, in terms of like too much, because like either we're driving to our own works, or you're driving around, you got the kids and all, but it's like then most of the times we're sitting down at home playing on larger systems because we have the capabilities of either getting them or more accessible to us, or however the situation occurs to be. So,
Mm.
it feels like it probably is more their speed versus our speed. So I kind of agree with Gravity a little bit on that one. Is it could be a factor in there that we don't really know about. So
I even would even kind of argue the fact that like I understand both of what you guys are saying, and I do agree with it. But at the same time, just because it's mobile doesn't mean that you have to lessen in quality. Look at what we have right now. We have phones that that can actually do full cinematics now. You don't even have to have a special 4K camera like the Red Eye. You don't even have to have that now. You can just have an iPhone and it's there. Bam. So like we have devices that can be capable like this. Still mobile version. The problem is that it seems like Nintendo is so cheap with the Switch that it's just like, oh, well, we don't have Bluetooth yet. Oh, we can't party up yet. Oh, we can't like what? Like why is it 2021 and I still have to give somebody a player code? I can't give them my username. I have to give them a friend code in order to add them as a friend.
How many times have I told you about Nintendo and that special kid in the corner?
Now here's the thing. I don't
just
mind
do what
too
they're
much.
gonna do. You just leave them alone.
I don't mind the
Leave 'em
friend
alone.
code too much because it's kind of a secure way of making sure your account stays secure. Where you own, like if you like got someone who wants to be your friend, you have to give them a code. Now it is very also not sociable. I would agree towards like you can't go online and say, all right, who played this game a lot, and oh hey, there's this guy I've been playing with constantly named Bobby DDD555. Let me just go ahead and send him an invite and friend request. I'll definitely say it's not as sociable, but I do kind of like a little bit of security with everybody saying, oh, you want to be my friend? Well, let me give you a code then so you can access, or at least get base access. But I think it could use a lot of work too in that point as well.
Well, even so, it doesn't even have to be. It could be at least something similar to what Discord does. Like right here, like mine, Flash36 #8469, easy. You know what I mean? It's not 13. It's not a VPN. You know what I mean? It's not. It's not anything like that. It's not a social security number. It's literally just something like my name, my actual gamer tag or username, and then 4 digits after it. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant, and it just doesn't seem like Nintendo really has necessarily cracked that formula. And again, I personally don't even mind the friend codes really, but it's just when you have that, and then you have them just now bringing Bluetooth, and I still have to use a phone to talk to you if I play a game with you. Like stuff like that is still just like where you at?
Roadrunner.
Dial up. They're still on dial up. That's what it is.
They're still trying to fax each other messages.
Yeah. And who is faxing somebody messages it's a 9-ball special. Where is Scorn 9-ball? Where is it? I don't care because it's a scary game, but I know for other people they do care, and we have something to say about it. So on here, for everyone that's inside the chat right now, whether you guys are watching or anything like that, you guys can actually go to the original post, which for my exact team right here, it's on here, section B. If you're our audio listener or if you guys are watching right now live, go to Kickstarter, www.kickstarter.com/projects, so that's S plural, /17775595379 /part-2-of-2-Dyson DASEIN /post /3351679.
It should be part-1 part-of-2, right? You said part-2.
Part-1-2. I'm a -of-2-Dyson. So, but for you guys, it's in section B. So if you guys want to see what the original post was, but going on over here to Jared Moore from IGN.
I'm gonna throw it in the Twitch for that.
Perfect. There you go. On here for IGN, and I'm gonna butcher this name, so I'm sorry, Peckler. Lujumbur Peklar, the creative director for Scorn, has publicly apologized for the following a parenthesis quote hostile and quote update sent out about the game's delay. In an update to Kickstarter's backers, the creative director of Ebb Software CEO apologized to fans and took full responsibility for the update being posted. Quote, I quickly and haphazardly read through the draft of the update. In all of my wisdom, approved it. Said Peckler. continuing. Reading through it again, it was clear that the hostile tone it was written in should not be how we should express ideas or plans to people that help us out. We may be tired, confused, and frustrated at our own ineptitude, but there is no reason to lash out at you. For that, I personally apologize. I will do my best for this kind of outburst not to happen again, end quote. Having read through the original post, it's not difficult to gauge why fans were upset. When asked what the team had been doing since the game's last trailer was released in October last year, the update reads, quote, "There's no big revelation here. We were just developing a game, and that is nothing more to it than that." End quote, end story. So a little bit of tude on the post that was there. And if you guys have the original post pulled up, I actually haven't even read the original post. But I am kind of curious as to fully what he said in its entirety. Does anyone have any commentary on this post?
I'm just wondering what happened to the game. Is it still around? Like, it looked interesting. I mean, you had a pretty much kind of like a space horror game with elements of H.R. Geiger in there, and the ship looked very interesting. And then it just dropped off the map.
I'm kind of reading it right now.
Yeah, they're still saying it's coming out. Supposedly, it's slipped into 2022, and they'll have an official confirmation of the delay on the 10th of December. It was supposed to be announced in October, but circumstances out of our control postponed it. If it turns out not to be 10th by someone else's will, don't hold it too much against us.
Even with this, like a couple of little highlights that I'm seeing on here. There's a question. What were we doing since last year's trailer release in October? Is very similar to what I just said. There's no big revelation here. We were just developing a game, and there's nothing more to it than that. A year is not such a big period when it comes to the game development. Some people really dislike us staying silent for such a long periods. It's that way by design for a few reasons. The only thing that will get the game out of the door faster is concentrating all the effort on development. That is our main priority. So there's a little sass there. There's some truth there. But I think there's a little sass there. But if we fast forward down to, he says on
here, but it's not hashtag deal with it levels yet.
No, but if you get to the very bottom of it, at the end of it, they're like, and for the end, a bit of friendly advice. If lack of communication is so bothersome, just ask for a refund and be done with it. It's just a game. You can play it when it's out.
Is that what they said on here?
It's at the very bottom.
Wow.
I'm like, yeah, I understand the people's reaction to the tone, but I also understand their comment of, get over yourself, guys. They're working about as hard as they can. Do you know how hard it is to develop games?
Yeah.
It is not easy. You're talking about a small man company team trying to do this, and yet you're saying, well, you need to be done now. I'm like, bros, like, they're working as hard as they can.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on.
I'm seeing some of the
you're
comments,
like demanding
too.
some updates. It's just like, guys, just chill. Like, seriously.
Yeah,
like,
I see, but the thing about it is certain things you got to be careful when dealing with people.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then but again, like
I know he's frustrated. I know you're mad, but you can't just
you can't stoop to the level. Yeah, you can't stoop to the level. On here, like one of the things that on here, and this is another tone watcher right here. It literally says the problem of hype. He says hype can be a big problem if you need it to be at the beginning, but still need to work on a project for a considerable amount of time afterwards. We didn't do the marketing for the market, but for the potential investors. We are going to do a proper marketing close to release date. Presenting the game constantly just creates vicious cycle. Every update creates anticipation that turns into disappointment for some because the game is not out yet. We realize the frustration, but by the end of the day, we think that it's best to lay low and have most of the people put the game out of their minds and that constantly bait them. So again, he has some facts in there. He has some truth, but there's also again, I see the tone. And that very last statement that I'll read again from what Mildred just pointed out. And for the end, a bit of friendly advice. If lack of communication is so bothersome, just ask for a refund and be done with it. It's just a game. You can play it when it's out. You can play it when it's out if you're still interested. I'm literally seeing this out here. Sam, a person. I'd like a refund, please. That was completely out of line. Then their response is the same. Please check your KS inbox for details. Here to match the tone of the update, I expect a full refund. Another person. I would like a refund, please. Refund, please. Nothing but support. Take your time. That's the one positive thing out of those last ones. And then
those other ones were earlier, but I mean, like I said, I understand both sides. Yes, the tone was uncalled for. The guy apologized for haphazardly reasoning. So it sounds like they're stressed over there for something. So
it's probably one of their first Ebb software. I'm checking. I'm about to check them now.
But here's the thing. Also, I kind of find it funny is like Elden Rings kind of did the same damn thing where they went really quiet on us, and you don't see anyone giving them flack.
Mm.
But because a Kickstarter group goes silent and trying to just work on it and not update, you're like, you think they're non-existent? It's like, think about it this way. The way I think about it this way is, the way I look at it is these Kickstarter people are kind of like a board of directors or like the investors of the company and all, and they're the ones demanding that the game be released now, kind of like the way that it happened with Cyberpunk. Like, guys, you need to chill.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at
if you're that hard up about your money and not getting a return on your investment right away, about not getting it right then and there, like, or within a set time frame, like, then you just need to pull your investment and just go somewhere else, And
that's kind of what they're saying, but I will say that
it's the tone in which they use.
They shouldn't. They shouldn't have said it in
that
that fashion. That's the thing.
And I agree completely with that. What I'm just saying is that, it feels like a catch-22. The tone was bad from the company, but what they're saying was true. The reaction from the customers is understandable. But I still feel kind of a bit overreactive in a way, So I feel like it's a fault on both ends, but definitely, like he said, he should not have allowed that to go through, which was a miss on his end, and I agree. I'm just saying though, it's like these are a Kickstarter group; these are not people who have a full company.
They seem to only have. It says with 10 full-time members. I'm on their wiki page.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're 10 people doing a full game, guys.
Yeah, it's not.
Now, to be fair, if this was a Kickstarter group for, like, say, take video games out of it, if this was someone just started up a company, they're doing a restaurant business, they're trying to make as many burgers as they can because they wanted to hit this straight, awesome bacon cheeseburger. And someone's just like, hey, where's the burger at? And they're like, well, you know what? McDonald's down the street. If you can't wait for your burger, go ahead and go down there. I'm like, you know what? I'm not shopping here. That's not the right tone to have it. So I can understand.
That's what I was saying. I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, I understand that they're frustrated and that there's a lot of pressure on them. It seems to be probably one of their first games, too.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it is, I don't agree with the tone at all, to be honest. That last comment.
Yeah, it could have been left out.
Up to then, it was okay. That last comment, somebody should have deleted that when they see them about to push it. Don't touch that button.
No, I agree.
The entire bottom 2 lines.
And I'm not saying that they should have said that or should have rewritten in some way. I agree that last comment definitely was above it. What I was saying is that, like you said, that they're a 10-man group. They're working on a game as best they can. Malachi's using the same, like, this guy's trying to make these best burgers he can, and someone's like, well, where's my burger at? I'm like, if there's like 1 or 2 people behind the counter and they're trying to make these burgers as fast as they can, and they got thousands of people behind you, they're trying to get as much done, and they're only 2 people, and you're complaining about the wait time. I'm like, you need to step back and look at the situation again about what is being and what they're trying to do here and what support they have.
But also, on the opposite side of that, though, as well, if you already have their money to make these burgers, then their thought process is going to be like, well, how come you only have 2 people working? Hire more people. So like I said, it's a catch-22 scenario.
It's a catch-22, really, because you don't know like where that money's going or what it's being used for. Is it just going to the people that are there for what they've expenditure on? Did they only budget for that? Did they budget for being able to try and hire more people? I don't know. But one of the things I guess you could say that coming out of this is, if you're going to invest in something, you need to look at the company or the group and saying, what is your plan? Do you have a roadmap? Do you have a reliability plan? Do you have a secondary plan in case something goes wrong? Like,
Well,
if you want to be that hard into it, you need to get those details before you invest your money into those things.
Yeah, this is the big thing about Kickstarters and Patreons. There's quite a few of them. I think it's Patreon, Kickstarter, there's a Subscribe Store, I believe there's another one. I've heard of those.
I've heard of Patreon and Kickstarter, and that's about it.
But those types of things, when you put your money in and you subscribe to that, you're basically paying them or investing into them. It's kind of like, in a way, a stock, in a way, and them helping to build the game. And so you get your, they usually give you, I think, access to games, maybe early builds and stuff.
Like, they'll give you some items, like,
yeah,
depending on, there's levels too. I've seen with several of them, like with board games and all, you get, after certain levels, you get certain styles of
like
cards,
the Dark Souls board game.
Yeah, or you get like a box or a special box if you hit a certain like donation level and all, but it's like it's an investment risk, which is, you're gonna see that happen a lot, especially if a company either doesn't have a good timeline or a good budget or something. There's a lot that goes into this, but I will agree in full point. The tone was not appreciated.
Yeah,
I understand
should have
people
calmed down before he continued on that last, especially too. The worst part is the timing. We're in November. They're going to launch it in 2022.
Facts.
You don't. I mean, if it maybe messed up, like maybe 2020, people probably wouldn't remember it as much. But you wait till like 2020, it's probably going to be an early 2022 title. Early to mid, I'm saying.
I don't think so. I think it'll be late.
I'm thinking of probably March, April, probably somewhere around there.
I'm thinking, honestly, end of next year. I don't think this game's coming out anytime soon.
I'll wait till they tell me. But I agree, the tone was definitely not appreciated.
Yeah, it was definitely over the top.
But I could definitely see whoever wrote it was probably someone who was probably dealing with HR stuff and was very pissed off with a lot of the shit that they were doing.
Yeah,
that's just rage quit on there.
And they were low on raised energies, so that's also a thing that they had missed out on, because if they went to repsports.com, type in ALWT Game, and check out the good guy for 50% off. That's all I'm saying.
So no, I definitely agree. Tone was unappreciated. I understand both sides. I definitely agree, though. It's one of those catch-22s that we're caught in here that unfortunately the group got caught in. So, if you guys want to go on there and support them, I'm pretty sure they would appreciate it. If you're already supporting them and you don't like them anymore just because of the tone, then as they stated, you can ask for a refund.
Heard that.
So, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that actually does conclude our ALWT Things Gaming episode 72. Which is also episode 58 for our anchor listeners and podcasters. Make sure again that this coming year that's coming up, 2022, is going to be season 2 of ALWT Things Gaming. So we're going to be starting off fresh with episode 1 next year. So be on the lookout for all of that. Before we go, I do want to do like a real quick roundtable and check in with you guys. Where are we at with our, if I can find it, backlog nightmare? Where are we at with our backlog nightmare? I know one of the games that
backed up.
Yeah, I know one of the games that that we have mentioned is that I am currently working on Final Fantasy 9. And then whenever we have moments to link up together, my backup is Gears 5. Going on over to, it's the 9 ball. I know you said you have Tales of Zestiria, right?
Yeah.
How's your progress?
Yeah. It's going. I mean, the problem is it's not a bad game, but I like Tales of Zestiria way better. I mean, the bad thing about Tales of Zestiria this is about as anime can go. It's, I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, I love anime. It's just this one, if you're not into anime and stuff, don't play this game. Number 2, I can't figure out how to turn off the second controller. The second
play.
I
need over there like double playing it, like.
Well, it's a problem because you would have to either have a second player, otherwise you have a person on your team that just doesn't do nothing. They just stand there, and it's the problem. Yeah,
fatal flaw.
Otherwise, I've been kind of adding to the backlog. I mean, I picked up a game by a first-time developer, Tormented Souls.
Ooh, it's on my list.
Yeah, it's just made by it's a mix of Silent Hill and Resident Evil.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've also picked up Fatal Frame, which I've actually been burning through that one. Fatal Frame. What is that? Maiden of the I can't remember the name of it. Maiden of the something. Maiden of the Black Water.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, the camera themed horror game where you have to take pictures of ghosts in order to.
Oh, that
with the
one.
camera obscura. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that on my list too.
Okay.
Which it's pretty good. So I'm probably gonna switch over to that one, Fatal Frame, because I'm actually making huge progress on that one.
So is that going to be your new backlog nightmare game? You're going to put Zesteria on the side and go down over there, Fatal Frame?
Yeah, Zestaria's massive. It's not a small game.
All right.
Zesteria is very, like Tales of Berseria, you're going to have to, like, Final Fantasies in them. Somewhere along the line, you're going to stop and start leveling.
Gotcha.
Because right now, I've got, like, 4 characters. And you gotta get their moves right. You gotta sync up certain items to get. If you get the right items in combination, you can get bonuses. They can learn moves. There's like leveling on their items. You got leveling on the characters. They have to do that. You got to do their combos right and all that. So it's. And I'm still probably at the beginning of the story. So yeah, it's gonna be a while.
Okay.
On that
right. So on that one, you're switching to Fatal Frame. We'll mark that down for you.
Yes, I finished about 3 levels on Fatal Frame already.
All right, so that's your backlog nightmare is Fatal Frame. Mildewy Carrot, your backlog nightmare. What are you working on?
Die Young, and I haven't touched it in a good bit, so I got to get back up on it. And unfortunately, like Nineball, I kind of did buy some newer games that I've been going in. Phasmophobia was one of them. I did get stuck in Civ 6 for a good weekend.
I also got
playing
Murder House.
King Moan. So, if anyone knows Civ 6, that takes freaking forever, even in online speed. You know, about a good couple hours for a game, depending upon what you're doing. And yeah.
Okay.
Other than that, you know, I am going to try and get into it again and try and get it done. It's a really fun game, especially if you like any of the Tomb Raider series. It kind of has a little bit of a feel like that. So I'm very interested in it. I just have been distracted by newer stuff. And unfortunately, I did just buy Bullet Witch on Steam because it was on sale.
Oh, I did too.
Halloween. That is such a good game from my 360 days. It was like one of the first games I played on 360. It is such a good game. I don't know why it's got mixed reviews on here. People are just haters. I love it. It's such a good game.
I don't know if you got that game Murder House. It looks like a PS1. It looks like a PS1 game, but it's like a very bad B-budget horror game. It's meant to look like a PS1 game on purpose.
Nice. I did get Dreadout Keepers of the Dark though, Nineball. So
yeah, I got the Dreadout series myself.
Cool.
Yep. Got some horror games for the Halloween weekend.
my backlog nightmare game, like I said, Final Fantasy IX. I haven't touched it since I made the attempt for Wisconsin, and you guys already know how hellacious that trip was for me.
What did I tell you?
No. The problem.
And you still didn't bring me cheese.
The food there was fantastic. My time there was amazing. The travel there and the travel back, that was where it was a problem. But yeah, so I did go ahead and beat one of the.
Made over from Wisconsin as hell.
I'm still pretty early on inside the game. So that is something I have to get back to. And again, anytime you boys are free and have a full day and want to jump on some Gears 5, I'm all for it. That's my backup for my backlog nightmare. Gravity, we'll give you a week to think about what you want to commit to for your backlog nightmare.
Well, it's funny you say that because, I actually did pick a game when we first started this.
Okay.
And because as soon as you said your backlog nightmare, I was like, oh no, I haven't touched it.
What did you pick? I can't remember.
And you know what? This is. I'm glad I'm not the only one. It feels like that day in
A
class
support
where your
group.
teacher's like, "All right, you guys had a paper due today," and everyone's like, "Oh, we did, didn't we?" And the
We're
teacher's
like-
"None of you guys did it." It's like, no.
We're like, yeah.
No.
There was a Britney Spears concert on last night, and
I just didn't get to it. No, I ended up picking, what was it? It was Link's Awakening
Okay. Yeah.
for the
Ooh.
Switch. So
Okay.
that was the one I did because I'm almost done with it. I'm definitely like very close to the end. I just haven't touched it. I've just been playing other games, and I have officially learned my lesson with certain games, which is that with certain games, like I need to do a little bit more research, especially with certain things before I commit to buying them, especially at full price. Um, is I just maybe like sometime like last month or whenever this game came out. This was like day one launch that I bought this. Um, the game Eternal Cylinder. This was a game that I had my eye on for a while. It was basically just like this alien game where you can you play as like your alien, and you can like get like you can mutate it to, like by like absorbing and like eating different things, and yet there's this giant cylinder that just rolls across the world, like, and then like it will just stop occasionally. And I was under the impression that it was gonna be this like big open world kind of
Sounds like
thing.
Karamari.
Like a little bit. Like it's not quite like Katamari, like where you're the one like rolling everything around. Like you're basically just like an alien, like this little alien that's like trying to run away from the cylinder. And like at the very least, I was expecting it to be something a little bit more, um, I guess for like something like I guess like Valheim or like Conan-esque, where it's like you have this big map that you can run around, and that occasionally like every so often like you're gonna have the cylinder that kind of comes over and destroys all your stuff, and you're gonna have to like hide. I also thought like you could like create like your own your own alien, and it could be very customized. None of that's really true. Or at the very least, like I haven't played far enough into it. Like it's basically like you're just like going across the world in like different segments of the map, and then I remember like I was running across, and I was trying to pick up the egg and like an egg because I can add people to my party.
Mhm.
So you're only like one specific race of aliens, which is just like it. I mean, it kind of looks like just a fat chicken, like with like an elephant trunk, and then I was like, oh, so like, is there more? Like, can I be something different? Is this kind of like Spore, like where I can like customize and create my own alien? They're like, no, it's just this, but like you can get mutations, and I'm like, oh, cool, but I can get mutations, neat. But then like any like all of your people are like two shots and they're dead. Everyone's two shots and they're dead. If your main person dies, you just pick up like playing from like one of your side people. But if your main person had like a mutation that like is gonna help you solve the next puzzle, and your current person doesn't have it, now you gotta go backtrack and try to find it. And it was just like I was it wasn't up to my expectations, and it really kind of humbled me a little bit because I was like, you know what? I shouldn't be putting like super high expectations, or like I shouldn't like put expectations on a game unless I actually know 100% what the game is about. Because then I'm just going to disappoint myself, and then I'm going to go try to chat with PlayStation to try to get a refund. And then they're like, oh, did you download it already? You're not getting your money back. And so now I just have this game in my library that I'm probably never going to play again. And like, I don't even think it's that necessarily that bad of a game. It's just like, it's just not what I was expecting. I'm like, oh, well, like, I got to be in a whole different mood to play this.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes I use Twitch for mine. If I that's how I ended up picking up Tormented Souls. And I'm looking at definitely
People
getting
playing
Little
this game on
Nightmares.
Twitch and stuff.
Yeah, and Little Nightmares too.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, guys, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, once again, this is our episode 72 for ALWT Things Gaming. We only got a couple more weeks left. Well, we got like, what, 7 weeks left 7 weeks left, and then we're done with 2021, and we're in 2022. Be on the lookout for us doing Smite Night this coming Thursday. Yes, we're gonna rage, we're gonna be upset, but we're gonna love it at the same time. We're gonna be ending out the year 2021 with Smite Night, and then starting Thursday of 2022, Smite Night will be no more, probably for a time period, but will be no more. And we are going to be focusing on our sin, which is Strength in Numbers segment on Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time until 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Maybe even a little bit longer, depending on the type of game it is. So we'll have to take a look. And then be on the lookout too as well for our 9 to 5 segment this month. We had a new month, so it's going to be a new 9 to 5. Still trying to work out the kinks and details as far as which Saturday that's going to be on, and next the 25th we will not be streaming any Smite Night, as that will be Thanksgiving. So we're going to have time to spend casually game on our own, spend time with the family, have some good turkey, have some good chicken, all that good stuff. Until next time, everybody, Control Alt
Complete.
Complete.
Peace, love, and hair grease.
Ew.
Love it.